cam room from, I think, 2009 that I'd never seen before. And so I contacted VGEMS about possibly what he might also have. And as it turns out, VGEMS back in the day was actually planning, much like I have, and to build his own Amendum archive. So,
by the way, she said Amendum archive. I'm throwing out kudos, right, because it's a political season and it's all about to come down. The card house is starting to fall. Yes, I've acted like an imbecile. Yes, I've stretched logic to the most anti-foundational limits as I see them. Why? Why? Because in one respect, there are identicals in the law of identity, and there are the law of non-contradiction, the rule, the principle that you abide by identicals, even though we're in a flux, even though our universe is verbose and not nounous. Back, like Donald Trump in an election, I pull back, not like the America, but I pull back to something much more conservative than what Amendum, than what I'll have to do it, puts forth in this, that bad and identical that Amendum puts forth, right? Which is not the case, right? Is that A, pain is bad. B, that spirits feel pain. I'm kidding, right? I'm joking. He never said that. I'm saying that. Why did I say that? Because life is pretty good until you get too close to the end of it. Now, why would I be concerned about antinatalism or fear of end of life? I'll tell you why. Because I made a video where I say, hey, Donald Trump, I'm going to fuck you in the rump with a 13-inch penis pump. Right? I made that claim. I did it. I did it. Right? So hang on. Let's see. Wait, hang on. I gotta get to it. Anyway, the point though is that I recently, as a hooker, as a free speech visual art hooker, received this data complex. Now look, I don't always bullshit, right? I don't always make bullshit comments. I don't bullshit about my theology. I don't bullshit about the universe that saves me, loves me. I don't bullshit about who I am as a candidate of. I'm a candidate. I'm a fucking candidate of the presidency. But I'm not here to fucking say anything about that, right? Okay, but hang on. Now, what I like about YouTube, right, is that they allow you to speed shit up lately. So here we go. I got to cover a few things. Let's see if that's going to even allow me to do it. I'm opening this on Facebook, right? Oh, shit. More settings. Let's see what shows up. The problem is... Okay, hang on. Maybe there's not a problem. There's a problem. I took this video that I'm playing right now, and I put it on Facebook. And then, you want to know what I got? I got Donald Trump threatening me. Somebody roundabout threatened to kill me. He threatened to fucking blow my brains out. Because I did this video. You hear it in the background, right? I'm on the drums right now. That's me on the drums. Oh, I'm so badass. Anyway, I decided to put this on the Godspook channel. Maybe I'll download it to the Mike President. I don't know. All I know is, hang on, I'm playing drums, and then there's you guys singing, and then, hang on. I want to get to the good part, right? Down to Mars, girls, yeah. Even though I don't think this is it. Okay, I'm drinking a natty. Why? Because I was just threatened by the president to be Donald Trump for my life. Now, why would I bet in Donald Trump unless threaten to fuck him in the rump with the... Okay, hang on.
That was a rip. I went all the way.
Here we go. Listen,
Well, before you speak with me,
this
sir,
is me singing.
I appreciate your rating.
I appreciate
The
somebody's
stage, but I
interrupting
appreciate
me
the
during my
commentary right now.
campaign opening.
Feedback.
Anyway, the point is even if I lie about being the guy that wired in 1998 the bottom of...
Donald Trump, I'm gonna bend you over that Cadillac trunk and fuck you in the rump with a 13-inch penis pump. You're just a shield to fill the executive corporate field. You're the gap to fill the gap.
President
Plutocrat.
You're just a gaff.
Paying all the money to those who knows. You know where it goes. NWO. New World Order.
The New World Order.
QE4.
QE4.
Rains to the pharaohs.
Pay to the pharaohs.
Nepotism grows. Federal Reserve dinero.
Well, what I mean by he's paying to the pharaohs, meaning there's nothing in Trump's policy, right? Nothing that eliminates the Federal Reserve, right? He went to Israel, he kissed some ass. You know what? This whole fucking election is pre-selected. How do I know? Because he made a deal with Oprah. You guys can Google this, right? Maybe I'll link the links. I don't know. And he's on her show, right? And the deal that he makes is that she asks him, will you ever run for president? That's the question, right? Now, the first move to bullshit appropriately and say, I don't think so, right? Like, I'm too humble, right? And then, anyway, the point, though, is the moral of the story is that he wheeled and dealed to be on Oprah's show to say that he would run, right? And that's my point, right? Okay, and then because this guy gets $1 million gift from his dad, and then whatever happened, he got in after his dad died because of fucking estate laws, right? This dude lands $1 million, and then he runs all these companies, and he gets out when it's bad, and he gets in when it's good, and he's wheeling and dealing, right? He's a wheeling and dealing. He's got $1 million to play with, and then he goes bankrupt. And then he uses the laws in order to, when business personage laws came into effect, that's when Donald Trump came in. Meaning he's been on the airwaves for some time. All I'm saying is he has played everything long term. He's the long game. You gotta admit the guy has verbato, right? Donald Trump has verbato in terms of mixing up the sauce. This notion that he's going against the establishment, maybe he is retractive in terms of his, I don't know, how do you put it? He's retractive in terms of bringing us more, backwards in time, closer to the Constitution in the face of Elon Musk going to Mars and infinite data sets and contained contradictions in networks, dileotheism. This guy is a contradictory statement, but we like him because he represents the doublespeak and the bullshit artistry that postmodernism is yielding. And this is problematic. Anyway, that's why I'm going live. I am going live. This is live, right? This whole thing's fucking live. So fuck you, you fucking fucker, whoever the fuck you fucking think you fucking are. Okay, hang on.
Goes to all the people they know. All the people they know.
Here we go. It's an audio video. Listen up.
Donald Trump is heading in the polls. He's good with right-wing hoes and
he's good with right-wing hoes, like hookers, like bitches, like everything that fucking Milo gets in these, like, Milo yappadappadappadas. This fucker, right? He goes around. He's like, the wage gap isn't real, but you know what I know? That the wage gap is real. You want to know why I know that? Because women give birth to kids and then they are divvied off, at least in the States, in the U.S., right? The women get some money, but they got to work, and the men go bail, and then they get billed, right? billed, but they don't get jailed, they get billed. Anyway, problem is that fucking people are breeding. That's why I brought amendum up earlier and antinatalism up earlier in terms of you fucking people are having too many kids. Have one kid. I'm a Malthusian antinatalist, not multiple kids. There's this trend where fucking bitches are out there getting knocked up by multiple dudes, having multiple babies. Like, hey, it's about the biology. And maybe it is, right? Maybe philosophy is really about the biology. And I think that it is. I'm upset because I haven't procreated. I'm a little upset at it. So I'm still looking for it. I'm looking to procreate. Why me? I don't know. Because I'm a human organism. I'm hyper intelligent. Like, I'm not dumb, right? Anyway, moral of the story, though, is this. As I prayed laterally through Hangouts in my life and think I know what I'm saying, God will know what I do. What do I say? God, I say, higher power. Yes, higher power. I'll get into that later. Anyway, moral of this story is that here's a guy that he has silver spoon, right? We're kissing his capitalistic ass, right? We're buying any of his fucking doublespeak, this double-speaking motherfucker doing what he's doing. All I know is if there's yin and there's yang, Donald Trump is on the yang, meaning he's yanging the American public to pull back against world dominance, meaning pull back against everybody else, build walls, limit things, like draw a discrete outline of a set. I tell you, SJWs are getting a bad rap, right? The belief, I'm just going to say this, right? People that believe in social justice, meaning Anita Sarkeesian catches a lot of shit, but you know what really all she really ever did that she's guilty of is considering the idea that a video game might flaunt a woman's body, right? But then it became like an outline, like a discrete outline, like an edge, like all of her attackers, all the SJWs, all the right wing, all of this pushback towards fucking Donald Trump, that fucking piece of shit, Silver Spoons. Watch your movie, Silver Spoons, right? Watch your Ricky Schroeder in Silver Spoons. That's fucking Donald Trump. He's a fucking prima donna, pre-prepped by Oprah. He's pre-prepped way back. He even went to fucking Israel. He's kissing Israeli ass. He's kissing Jewish ass. He's making certain, like, hey, look, the one thing I'm not going to do is what Ron Paul really wanted to do, which was take down the Fed, right? There's got to be some inclusion with a nation state. So what does he want? He wants fucking borders.
The Bible Belt. Your Jesus is capitalist. My Jesus is fabulous.
What I'm saying there is your Jesus, Donald Trump, is a capitalist. My Jesus is fabulous, right? I'm in Utah, right? What Utah means is like, hey, look, the reason why we're voting for this dude is because he's Mormon and because he's been in intelligence, the McLuhan dude, right? Very important. I think I have better policies than McLuhan. I think McLuhan has better experience than anybody on the field. I think Donald Trump has good ideas in terms of pulling America back, but in the face of driverless, what do you call them? Diesels, 18 fucking wheelers, in the fucking face of human globalization, in the face of people earning less than $2 a day or less than the average Mexican wage around the world compared to us, a little high on the dime, the little eye on the top of the fucking pyramid that's separate from the rest of the pyramid, meaning the rest of the fucking world, right? American exceptionalism, American acceptism, right? I'm writing a book, right? It's going to be ulterior. I think it'll be called Alterityism. That is a fact. Alterityism, right? Alterityism, not exceptionism and not exceptionalism, but something that's eating around the edges, that's ulterior to whatever this fucking horse shit is of a goddamn election.
American whore. Donald Trump is the American whore. Just a cog in the wheel. So when I win, let you in the office oval to fall to the floor.
And Donald Trump, get on your knees.
Lewinsky once a week for the next 8 years. The rest of the time, I'll be.
And so anyway, so obviously me being a guy that is who I am, right, a street artist, right, has very little clout in the face of trying to win an election against Donald Trump. I didn't even have a chance to get on the stage. I couldn't. But Gary Johnson, a moron. Jill Stein, hippie. I like her. I like the Green Party. I really do. I like the history of the Green Party. I like its ethics. I like Leonardo DiCaprio's new movie. I like all this shit. There's nothing to not like about it. Anyway, so here we go, though. I'm like, okay, it's really coming down to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, right? So who did I put my vote in? I'll tell you. I'll fucking tell you who I put my fucking vote in for. I put it in for myself, right? Why? Because I'm a fucking candidate, Michael Travis Fail, F-A-H-L, Michael Travis Fail, for the United States. I'm not saying vote for me, right? I don't have a chance. I'm not even write-in on any ballots, right? I never made it past the first scope. Because the first scope that you have to do to be president is join the corporation of America. You have to join 2 corporations, one for your campaign and one for your committee or something, I think it's that. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Hang on. Let's just listen. This is going to be a long stream, obviously, but fuck you, America. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you, Hillary Clinton. Fuck you, Gary Johnson and Jill Stein, you hippie, weirdo doctor lady who has good intent. I still have better policies than all of you. I do.
You're fucking on Ivanka.
I just said the rest of the time I'll be fucking on Ivanka, right? Like, hey, suck my dick when I'm in the office because I'm of legal age to be a president, and because Lewinsky did it, and because you've been playing this shit since way back when Lewinsky was doing it. Even before then, you're a sick son of a bitch, owing to Oprah, owing to NBC, owing your $1 million because your dad somehow your dad went to Israel and kissed whoever the fuck runs our Federal Reserve from Israel, not Janet Yellen, right? Not Stanley Fisher, maybe Stanley Fisher, probably Stanley Fisher. You have your dad correspond with them like, hey, whenever my son, he's going to be a fucking dick, he's going to make some things, he's going to make history, but then he's going to go to Israel, he's going to kiss some ass, and he's going to run for president, and you fuckers, because I'm his dad, and I got millions. I'm going to give my son $1 million, roughly, right? Anyway, moral of the story is this. There's a street artist, this fucking prick, Donald Trump, you fucking prick. Your dad bought you, you fucking silver spoon piece of shit. You have an idea of enclosure, but you're not a rebellion. If Hillary gets in, it'd be nice to see if the fucking white South bullshit racists or whoever the fuck's backing you actually rages, actually picks up physical steam and walks the fuck onto Washington and owns the shit and says, look, you will get rid of this fucking Federal Reserve ASAP. It's going to Congress and it's transparency. I don't give a shit if you got a space program you're filling billings to. I don't give a shit if you're going to give the black book $200 million or whatever it is to the president to do whatever the president wants. I don't give a fuck about that. All I give a fuck about is that you let us know, because if we don't like it, we want amendment to get the Federal Reserve out, get Israel out. We're America. We're not fucking Israel. We're not Jewish, right? We may have founding fathers that have some sort of Masonic tie, but that does not necessitate that we're Jewish and should kiss Jewish ass, but every fucking presidential candidate has that shit. Okay, hang on a second. I'm so pissed off. Fucking disgusting.
Don't go.
Oh, I gotta speed this shit. Why can't you speed it up? Okay, here we go.
I guess we're sax free now. Unless you want to play out. Yeah, you can do. Oh well, that comes after that. Anyway, if we could shuck off the shackles, because I tell you, when my parents die, I don't inherit their debts. So if a whole generation dies, that means that the next generation inherits that debts.
Of course not. Look, my parents do their labor and then they yield it to their kids. But if they're in debt when they die, I don't inherit the debt, right? That's the benefit of capitalism in the U.S., right? You don't inherit your parents' debt. But I tell you, women, as far as an antinatalist, just because you're popping out a baby doesn't mean shit. Now, Milo Yiannopoulos, this guy's got it all wrong, right? He's like, hey, the gender wage is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. But I'm telling you, what it is that there's a lot of young women getting knocked up by dudes, that they get a government subsidy, but it's not quite enough. So what do? They be waitresses, right? So then they do this broad bus average of, hey, are there more waitresses than waiters? Oh yeah, that's right. There's more waitresses than waiters. And you want to know what, folks? That makes the difference between the age gap right there. Boom. There's plenty of women getting knocked up. Women have uteruses. Women have kids. Men are plugging it out, right? Pop, pop, pop. That's why we send more men off to war, right? This whole argument like, oh, there's more men that go to war and die. Well, you know what? It's because you can cast a fucking 1,100,000 sperm in a gob, right? So you're popping it in her face instead of her hoochie, but then you want it in the hoochie because you want to reproduce. And I have a problem with the reproduction. I didn't do it. I think it would be a good idea. I'm not really an antinatalist, but I promo antinatalism. Okay, hang on. Since I'm part shitty, all right, let's go. Just listen. We'll come back. We'll come back. Okay, now this... this is Forever Wolf Films, right? She's an antinatalist. I think she's in Chicago, Illinois. She was on the Tosh 2.0 show. Fabulous lady, great artist. Love the woman. Okay, what does she got to say? She's owning Amanda. We're going to play a little more of her from her.
He had saved just a tremendous amount of content, including pretty much all of the Do Not God channel. That's the big news. Because, of course, all of those videos were completely wiped by YouTube. And it was a very tragic thing, and pretty much nobody else had saved any of them, with the exclusion of, I think, about 50 or 60 that are, even now, on the old Inmendum Videos backup channel, which I'll link to below, and I think I have them on Inmendum Archive right now. Gary typically says that before the Do Not God channel went down, there were about 600 videos. I forget the exact number of videos that were recovered from that channel by VGems, but I think it's somewhere in the realm of 450 something. So it might not. So it's probably not everything, unless the original 600 videos estimate was wrong. But I don't know. So it's a lot of it, though. It's way more than I ever thought I'd ever see. So that puts us in a, and on top of the recovery of the Do Not God channel, man, VGems, you're a hero. I mean, he also sent me stuff from Stickam I'd never seen, including some of the videos that were actually uploaded to Stickam itself, which I thought.
Okay, if anybody doesn't like Forever Wolf Films, I'm just going to say her first name's Amanda. Great artist, Tosh 2.0. Elephant antinatalist video. Antinatalism, people, check it out. Why? Because we're overpopulating. Do you know, you flesh-eating bastards, that if you just converted from the methane that comes out of not the ass, not the ass of a cow, but the mouth of a cow, that you would have, I don't remember what it was like 12 less molecules of methane. methane molecule, one methane molecule equals one CO2 molecule in terms of the refractive power that it has in terms of destroying the ozone and increasing health. If you guys haven't seen the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, granted he overlooked the whole abiotic resinking possibility of oil. Nevertheless, it's a great film. If there's literally 30-ish feet of top to bottom melt going on in 5 years in Greenland, if that is in fact a fact, it's very problematic. If Florida is building highways higher because it floods, something's going on with the weather right now. You right-wingers think that fucking Donald Trump's EPA bullshit makes sense. If you fucking think his like bagging the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, in the face of this, if you think he's just bagging it out, right, like I'm in Utah, right, sell off Utah land, put fracking everywhere, oil the fucking shit out of Moab, Arches, fucking Zions, all of the beautiful, like honored, sacred Native American sites. Meanwhile, while Congress is passing the law up there in fucking North Dakota and the whole Indian rights, and the Indians are like, hey, we don't want to fight. Fuck you, man. Donald Trump loses this election, he's going to want to fight. But the whole point is fucking whatever. The whole point is to stir the goddamn pot. The pot is just being stirred. I'm just throwing in my 2 cents. That's how I think about things. I don't give a fuck what you think. I really don't.
We're going forever because with how quickly, what the hell is that?
Although I think Gary Johnson is a bit of a moron for like, no, like he's fucking just like half stupid, half cocked, like, we're just going to strip it. Right? Like, hey, if Social Security keeps grandma in and not on the streets, like my 80, 90-year-old grandma, grandpa in a house, it's funding them. As a social program, you asshole, do not strip that away. They do not go to the streets or they die. Right? Bullshit with this fucking neoteny younger bullshit shit. Okay, sorry, I'm rambling. Okay, here we go.
What is that? It's a very strange fruit of some kind, I think.
Okay, so wait, here's the other thing. If you haven't already figured out that on YouTube, you go to the little gear sign and you click it, right? You go to the gear sign and you click the gear sign, and then what you do is you go up to speed and you click it, and then you go down to double time, right? Because Amanda's fucking going on forever and I got shit to do. And I'm on my broken feet. Kill him, man. Okay, so here we go.
I don't know, sorry. But with the lost train of thought now, with how quickly Stickham went down, I never got to rip any of those videos. So I thought they were going forever. He had stuff from the Ning soapbox, which admittedly I have to look through everything again. And because I originally had thought that the Ning stuff went onto the Vlogger Heads website, his channel on the Vlogger Heads website. I thought there was some sort of relationship there, but I feel like it's stuff I've never seen before. Again, I could be wrong because some of the older Vlogger Heads material I just haven't seen in a million years. I'm not as familiar with it. But anyway, just a tremendous amount of Vlog TV, Stickham, Ning, all kinds of this and that I never thought I would see. So again, in the last, this year has seen the recovery of thousands of fucking amended videos that.
Okay, she's talking about Stickham. Now, what I'm asking you guys to do is, look, speed up my fucking video to 1.5, 1.25, or 2 point, whatever. Speed it up, right? This is a long fucking thing. Anyway, so Amanda was just talking about way back in the day when Amanda was on Stickham. I was on Stickham in Stickham days. It's called stickam.com. Went out of business. I don't think they were bought out. I don't know why they gave up, but some people like the venue. And she was there, I don't know if she was there, but she was talking about him being there. I don't know. I haven't seen this video. I haven't. It's got about 6 more minutes in it at 1.5 time. It's got about, what is that, 4.5 minutes?
This is exactly why I built the site, because I was hoping at some point, people would come forward with this material, and it could truly have the second chance of being archived. And so, first of all, thank you to all three of you for making this material available for myself and the rest of us. I really am very excited. So, the website, because I'm such a novice at so much of this, I mean, the website has been, it needs a lot of work. Like, there's something, I need to update the version of Omega that it's running on. That's a little bit of a chore. So I have to move things around and whatnot. There's a lot of sort of technical issues that need to be fixed before the next true update can happen. The biggest one is that to load videos onto the site, specifically to load videos, I think larger than 4 megabytes, and it's upload more than one file at a time, you have to use this plugin on the site called Dropbox, which is not the Dropbox app that most people are familiar with. It's just some other thing called Dropbox, and it seems to have been corrupted or something like that. So it often doesn't upload correctly, which is terrible because sometimes it's difficult to see if it uploaded something, and sometimes you've got like half a video floating around on the site somewhere. There's just a lot of problems with it not working, and when you're dealing with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of videos, it's very frustrating to only be able to upload.
Look, I have freedom of speech rights, right? So even though Donald Trump has reached out to me secretly, I think on Hillary's secret email server, and threatened me, right? Threatened my life, like to blow my brains out. Why? Well, he's got good reason. I wired the 9/11 buildings in the bottom in 1990. I did that, right? And I thought, as a president, that America, right, since they're going for this pissy ass fucking punk called Trump who got his fucking silver spoon money, instead of that dude, they can have this fucking kick-ass cat who also dropped the fucking buildings. Like, hey, let me, as the wirer in 1998, when I went up to the 88th floor and I met the Saudi prince, and Bill Gates was there, and fucking Giuliani, and what's his fucking, not Karl Rove, and then the vice president, Cheney, right, and fucking Bush. Like, I met everybody, right? And just for a moment, right, because the guy from Boeing that picked me up in Arizona, was it Arizona? Wyoming, right? Because I was out and about in 1990, and then I wired it roughly 2 years before, right? So 9/11's in the inside job. Donald Trump was purchased, like, hey, Oprah, look, I'll go on your show, even though you're a big, fat Negro woman. I will go on your show as long as you ask me if I'm going to run for president so I can deny it and act humble about it. But that's a fact. I'm going to tell you the fact. Let me just tell you the facts. His dad borrowed all this money from Stanley Fisher's book. I swear to fucking God. Donald Trump pre-purchased the presidency. Donald Trump's dad pre-purchased the presidency, right? Donald Trump makes great deals. You want to know one deal he made? He made it with fucking Hillary Clinton.
One video at a time. So I'm working on fixing that because, specifically with all of this new content that's come in, I'm really...
He made it with her so that he could win, right? The whole idea is that the whole bit, it's all one big, elaborate, kind of anti-foundational, sort of Nietzsche scam. I feel you're killing me. Anyway, if I ever end up dead, Michael Travis Fail, FAHL, if I ever end up dead, Trump became president, because I don't know, I'm making this before him, but if he does, because he makes deals, and the polls are turning, he might want to kill me because of that video, right? That was playing earlier. Okay. It was getting crazy.
Really excited to start actually getting it all in there and starting this fucking tagging process, starting the fucking process of really and truly indexing it all and making it all searchable. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this, in this, what I'm about to say in this video, but there are a lot of things involved with this particular project that I think could be of some help with the whole, Coliseum Floaterdome thing that, Gary and Piero were doing. I do have a lot of ideas connected with how this archive and what I hope the archive can produce, can help with that. And I can help with that project.
See, she's mentioning Piero. If you don't know Piero, oh my God, the Hawaiian gods took his daughter. What of his daughter? Point is my network and Trump's network, like, I have friends in low places. So you know what Trump's going to do? He's going to try to figure out my network. But the problem is that my sleeper cells are too much like your notion that Islam, as opposed to being like Islam statements towards Christians. There's plenty of this, right? Granted, it's its war things. It's abroad. It's abroad. It's dictatorial. People adhere. They cherry pick through the thing, right? Ever since the Contras came in the 70s and the 80s, right? The whole Iran affair, the whole Syria thing. If you guys look up Trump and Assad video, there's a good one that came out, right? It shows that New York, where Trump's buying up all these old abandoned buildings and trying to like gentrify New York instead of artify it. And then Kissinger's like fucking over Assad in Syria in terms of like Assad's notion of like just general peace and business. And Kissinger's fucking it up. You guys will see that Trump in New York in the 80s, Kissinger with Assad in Syria, and then the betrayal of Assad. It's kind of disgusting. I don't mean this video to be a betrayal of anything. I'm an American, right? I think the patent law reform, corporate reform, stripping away the Fed, I think the Ron Paul libertarian shit is perfect. I think Gary Johnson's a fucking moron. He doesn't even know what he's saying. He has no rhetoric power. Zero, right? Here's my little Donald Trump. Let me give you a fucking this, that, and this, because that fucking silver spoon is trying to take this election. And you want to know what? Bill Maher and Obama had a great interview. They had a great interview. Okay, let's play a little of that. Let's do a little zigzag.
We're very excited to be here.
I'm very excited to be here.
Very grateful. Thank you very much. You must be a little wistful. You must feel a little like David
Ortiz
about a month ago, where you know you're going on to great things in the next chapter of your life. And you're still hitting.
But my feet are.
But you know you'll never quite have a job as exhilarating.
You'll never quite have the same job as being president, Mr.
I
President.
tell people, this has been a great run. I have loved this job. I'm not going to pretend that there haven't been moments of great frustration, but it is a singular privilege. I think I'm as good a president now as I've ever been because you learn stuff.
Yeah.
Right? You've sort of been around the track a bunch of times. But I also see now the wisdom of the founders that.
Did you hear that? Obama said, now I see now the wisdom of the founders. You want to know why?
There have to be
because he's scared shitless that Trump is going to actually become president and try to gear everything back to the Constitution. So this is an apologetic. But by no means do I mean to defame Obama. Obama, even if he is a Muslim, Hussein is his middle name, right? Hussein. He's talking to Bill Maher, a proclaimed atheist, talking about this and that, blah, blah, blah. But Obama, a black president, whether he's from Kenya or not, even, look, just assume he is, right? Even if he's not, assume he is. So a Kenyan out-of-country Muslim black president in the United States doing what he did, it's a goddamn honor. Thank you for being our president. Thank you for trying to get health care for everyone. Thank you for wanting that. Thank you for thinking humanity as diesel trucks in America, right? Diesel drivers in America, like 40% or whatever of our current GDP is that, and that Google and Tesla and self-driving fucking cars are coming in to subtract this. And what do we have? We have this dictator buttfuck fucking Donald Trump trying to reel us back and say, hey, you, right? Like, hey, and you. Like, it's not about that. It's about the industry. But the thing is, we're co-opted, right? The money system, as we move into high tech, isn't even addressed, right? It's like these fuckers think that humanity is a bunch of morons, right? So Donald Trump doesn't even embrace the notion, A, of clean energy, which Obama is pristine about, right? Donald Trump wants to open up coal mines. He wants to get back to work, right? It's more about the labor and the force and the reproduction of the people, regardless of the planet. Fuck the planet. Okay, fine. Let's say you say fuck the planet. God's got it covered, right? You want to change shit because you want to know why? Because God's got it covered, right? That's the fucking irony. Anyway, moral of the story is this fucking guy, Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm in Utah, Zion's arches. Imagine a fucking an oil rig in front of the arches. Just imagine it. Well, it's not bad enough that these local fuckers, these Mormon right-wing fuckers, they have to capitalize. The reason I bring up amendum, right, the reason I owe to amendum is even though I don't think that bad is an identical thing with pain, right? Pain and badness, they're not the same thing. They can be made identical, but I don't believe it. The reason I bring this up is because stripping Mother Earth in the time when we have the North Dakota pipeline argument going on in the States, this is nothing of the rest of the whole fucking world's problems, right? This has to do with treaties. This has to do with rights. This has to do with the notion of Nicaragua. This has to do that Muslims are part and parcel some of the most intelligent men that we bring into the country on the Genius Visa, right? The Genius Visa allows Muslims, yes, and other Hindus and any other religion, Buddhists, and any country that has somebody that's participating in our job loss, because most of the people aren't educated, or they're not educated enough in America, right? Because they're too busy trying to live the American dream, which is some sort of middle class, like modern America, like don't hurt yourself trying to get super intelligent too quick for too long without having a baby in the house and some other obligations that strip you away from becoming hyper intelligent, right? These other countries, they're very stressed out, so they're Venturi, they're top, they're elite. Those fuckers, boom, right? But there's American fuckers that boom. I mean, I'm not saying there's not American fuckers that hit where they need to hit. I feel guilty because I helped somebody with a court case instead of moving into video games during a certain window of time. So I have problems with that emotionally. But policy speaking, I am and not dumb like Gary Johnson, but understand why he falls off a chair and acts like a heart attack, right? He's trying to play the liberal, like, hey, whatever goes, right? Look, I'm liberal. They can do anything. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's eating it up, and I'm thinking, what is true policy reform? If not, suppose that Mark Zuckerberg could only ever earn 70 times the amount that his lowest paid employee in any company or relational company ever earned. He could only earn 70 times that. Not 700 times, not 7,000 times, not 1 billion times. 70 times. Suppose there was a congressional amendment made such that individuals that work, like if I go get a job, right? My feet are hurting. Got to get up the feet. Make certain I'm intoxicated so I can deal with it, right? Oh, this fucking video. Anyway, suppose I go work for CenturyLink. Suppose I go work for JetBlue or eBay or Amazon or wherever I worked in the past. Suppose that. Or suppose what's his fucking net? Like Jeff Bezos, when I was working for Amazon, he could not earn more than 70 times my wage. If he did want to earn more than 70 times my wage, he couldn't. And what would happen is he became a billionaire. There would have to be, what do you call it? Imbricated, not complicated. Imbricated. imbricated like a tile roof, right? Such that every class, as it goes up the ladder of corporate hierarchy, if we are to remain within this fucking Jewish corporate Federal Reserve bullshit owning the world, keep the dude on top, keep the man on, to keep the fucking ship afloat bullshit, even though we sold out our bonds to China and they want to cash him in. And Donald Trump's like, hey, if you get me in there, whatever happens, I'm not going to do that. Right? Default. Why? Just to keep America afloat. I like Donald Trump's hyperbole. I do. I like what he wants to do in terms of the yang instead of the yin. The yin is worldism. It's globalism, as Alex Jones might say. It's a preponderance of making deals worldwide, but trying to even the playing field instead of keeping the Permitic, hierarchical, money, concentration, and focal point and military power and white Indonesian, blah, 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 whatever it is that he's like spoken of. It's like an outline surrounding or outlining a downward movement around a pyramid, right? Well, if you go to OkCupid right now, just say you went to OkCupid, the dating site, I think you can check out the stats, and you'll find that white men are not necessarily preferred by black women, but black women are generally not liked by Asians, Hispanics, whites. I don't think they have a thing for Hindus. I wish they had a thing for Hindus. Anyway, but the point is that there's this, I don't know, my friend Sean, way back when, he did this picture of a white guy selling human seeds. Oh, you can get the black one, the white one, or the Hindi one, or the Mexican, whatever you want, or the Eskimo one. And sure enough, the white one, nice. It was absurd, right? So you get this social feedback system that says privilege. Look, as a white person, you're just privileged. Why are you privileged? Just own that you're fucking privileged, right? But we have a black president. Here's a little more of them.
You're a citizen, and you go back to being a citizen after this office is over. So we're just trying to run through the tape, and the great thing, the whole team around me of people who have done extraordinary work. I'm sort of the front man for it. And, well, that's very modest. Well, the fact that the team won't be there in the same way, I think is the only thing that, where you have a little bit of regret. So we're a week out from the election, and you're a history buff. When we look back, if Mr. Trump is defeated, I'm hopeful that the takeaway will be that socialism was not such a dirty word anymore because of our friend Bernie Sanders. And I'm just wondering, as someone who was accused of being a socialist before, what do you think about the idea that in America, yes, we're capitalists, but some things just should not be for the profit motive? Healthcare, prisons, the military, elections. And I would add news coverage. People say get the money out of politics. I think you got to get out of the news business first for when I'm learning. Well, a couple things I'd say. First of all, if you look at the United States, Canada, Europe, all the advanced democracies, then clearly you've got to have a market-based system because it's really productive and it spurs on innovation, freedom, and entrepreneurship. And you got to have a social welfare state. And in some ways, the label socialism doesn't make that much sense in a context where there's no economy that doesn't have some socialist elements, meaning that there's some common goods that we all agree everybody should have. That's what Social Security is. That's what Medicare is to some extent. That's what public schools are. We all chip in to make sure that everybody, no matter the circumstance of your birth, have these baseline goods. And as you know, I've felt pretty strongly that healthcare should be one of those goods. I've also said in the past that if I were designing a system from scratch, I would have probably looked at a single-payer system.
I love that Obama did the healthcare reform. I think that it's fucking stupid. This dipshit to just like, instead of trying to rewrite it, he's more like, no, give it back to the corporate fucking insurance company that are bought out the same time my daddy sold my future to the presidency and bullshit.
But we do have legacy systems, and that's the only thing that sometimes when I've had conversations with Bernie, I've said to him, we don't start from scratch. You got a $1 trillion healthcare industry, for example, and you got a lot of people who are working for it, and a lot of special interests involved. And so my goal in the Affordable Care Act was if I can get millions more people insurance, then that's my first goal. Because for them, this is not an abstraction. It's like, I'm not going to lose my home, or my kid's going to get coverage. And that's what we've done. But I see it as a starter home. And then the question is, how do we make sure everybody ultimately gets it? Because there's still gaps in coverage. I think the same is true, when it comes to some other issues. To me, I think there is a pretty bright line around prisons. I agree with you that the criminal justice system should not be affected by, this is the awesome power of the state, saying we can take somebody's freedom away, we can lock them up because they've breached some part of the social contract. The notion that you might incentivize people to lock more people in, or even no longer, or not provide the kind of rehabilitation services so that they can get out of there. I think that's a problem. And so I'm very proud of some of the work that we've been trying to do along these lines. We got more work to do. When it comes to the media, that's a tougher call because look, state-run media, that's what they got in
not state-run, but just like it used to be, where it was a lost leader for the networks. They didn't have to make a profit.
Partly because they had a monopoly to some degree, right? So they were fat and happy. In this kind of environment, it's hard to figure out how you would do that.
Way I love Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer, I don't know what it is, I mean, duh, you're a star, duh, the girl with the back tattoo and my stuff, that I'm like all like, ugh. But what do? You got some boyfriend, you found on Instagram, or oh yeah, sorry. Wait, back to the president and Bill Maher.
I think the question I'd have when it comes to the media is, how do we create a space where truth gets eyeballs and is entertaining, and we can build a common conversation. What is true, when I leave here, one of the things I'm most concerned about is the balkanization of media, where you've got 800 stations, you've got all these websites. People have difficulty not just sorting out what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
And if you don't have some common baseline of facts, we can have a disagreement about how to deal with climate change. But if we have a big chunk of the country that just discounts what 99% of scientists say completely, it's very hard.
Boom, you know what he's saying there? He's saying, look, if we have a bunch of the fucking dumb shit country going against what scientists are saying, like the smart people, like the people that study shit instead of just like the carte blanche Bible belter, like, hey, God, thank you so much for the world. We can fuck it up, and I know you'll love us just the same day in and day out because nothing ever changes because you got it under control, right, guy? But also, the Christian guy's got a fucking apocalypse. And if humanity wants to run roughshod against God's little plan within your little life, then fuck you, let it happen. Otherwise, you're sadistic and pieces of shit.
Hard to figure out how we move the democracy forward. So I don't have a good formula for that, but I think that it's something that I'll spend a lot of time thinking about and seeing if maybe we can build some platforms where everybody says, okay, let's agree on facts and then argue about means after that.
Okay, let me ask you about a question that I know people who watch our show are interested in, which is marijuana reform.
Is that something that you care about?
It's something I care about. It's no, we both made jokes about it, but it's not funny.
He just brought up marijuana reform, right? Everybody knows Bill Maher likes to get ripped, or he says he likes to get ripped. I assume Bill Maher likes to get ripped. I like to get ripped. Problem is it runs roughshod against certain like anti-intoxicants that maybe like the Mormons think or the Puritans think. The puritanical argument. I'm not saying that Mormons or Puritans aren't correct in what they think. I'm just saying that I think that if they're going to change their laws to accept black people in the apotheosis of fucking civil rights, 1978, right, then they should fucking fess up to the idea like, hey, lots of shit, especially if there's GMOs going through our system at mad fire rates now and you can't even get around it, then you should also have the option of some other things that you might want to move through your system during your life, especially LSD. Not that I'm a huge proponent of it because it's mentally distorting. It's a twist, right? But the point is, I'm just saying, right? Like, maybe all drugs, right? Maybe let the fucker pull the finger out of that one thing. I'm not saying go into complete relativism. I'm not saying go into complete anti-foundationalism. Like, try to stay concrete, right? If Donald Trump's really a constitutionalist and we're really Americans, then fucking America, wake the fuck up. You got an amendment thing, right? We okay, you got the Bible Belt, you got the Catholics, and you got the Bible thumping Protestants, and you got the Mormons. The Mormons are interesting because they allow an amendment process to be included in whatever their prophetic notions are, right? So if America having amendments possibility like Thomas Jefferson wants us to fucking change it, I remind you to speed this up, right? If America had the ability to make amendments, Donald Trump's throwing one out, like congressional block. Well, that's great. Okay, finally, somebody. That's good, right? I like that. An amendment to the Constitution. But you know what? It should be patent law reform. There should be corporate ratios implied in law structure. There should be, like Bernie Sanders said, a tax on investment, like a 0.0001 point on every transaction, right? 1/1000th of a cent, whether or not you're making a $695 trade or a $10 million trade. Just that little thing by itself, according to Sanders, not that I've done the math, right, would pay for a jubilee of American education. Back to the president.
To the people who get arrested, which is over 500,000, I think, last year. You and I both could have had our lives ruined, not really by smoking it, but by being arrested for it. And I feel like you had a checklist about let's get rid of a lot of the stupid stuff, like opening up Cuba. You came out for gay marriage. I was hoping ending the drug war would be on that list. It's on the ballot now in 9 states in a week, including California for recreational and Arizona, and medical in places like North Dakota. Isn't it time the federal government caught up to progressive states like Arizona and North Dakota?
Well, here's what I have always believed, that to the extent that the society legitimately wants to guard against any kind of substance use, that you treat it as a public health problem. Look, I'm an ex-smoker, cigarette smoker. X. And really, yeah.
To the extent that Obama doesn't think the public should have to suffer cigarette smoke, he's against drug laws, drug freedom, right? Okay, but hang on. Let's see what the pushback is from Mark. It's interesting. It's interesting to me that Obama decided at this time to have this interview with Bill Maher, but at the Oval, not in Bill Maher's place. But nevertheless, he still decided to do it. And good thing he did it in his space because, he's still the president. Front, show a little fucking authority for a.
I really did you wink or did you get something in your eye there? I thought I caught a wink
true.
too.
I'm chewing the heck out of Nicorette.
Really?
Yeah. But no, when I passed healthcare reform, I think
right.
I'd had my last cigarette. But the reason is because there was this enormous public health effort to get kids not to pick up smoking and make sure the parents felt guilty if they were passing on that habit to their kids. And so that's where I think we need to go with pot, alcohol, and so I don't think that legalization is a panacea, but I think that we're going to have a more serious conversation about how we are treating marijuana and our drug laws generally. The good news is,
by the way, I'm upping my volume.
To some degree, it's going to call the question because
if,
in fact, it passed in all these states, you now have about 1/5 of the country that's operating under one set of laws, and 4/5 in another. The Justice Department, DEA, FBI, for them to try to straddle and figure out how they're supposed to enforce laws in some places and not in others, they're going to guard against transporting these drugs across state lines. But you've got the entire Pacific corridor where this is legal. That is not going to be tenable. Now, it's not something that I think is going to happen overnight, and I think there are some legitimate concerns that people have about how you draw lines on these issues. But it is indisputable that right now the biggest drug crisis we have is with opioids, many of which are illegal and are ravaging entire communities all across.
Obama's making a great statement here. He's talking about what happened during his presidency, where the federal government separates itself off from state laws. You get Colorado, Washington, Maryland. You get I don't remember who the other one is. Maybe Alaska. I don't know. The marijuana laws, right? And the thing about them, and then Bill Maher in California, where, hey, it's not really legal, Bill Maher, they're trying to bust your ass, right? Okay, it's all over. It's ubiquitous, right? Like the democracy demands what it demands, right? Like here, there's this thing, it's a commodity. It's already legalized, and then you got Obama trying to do this, and then you wonder, is he doing it because he likes the agreement with the private prison contractors, general law structure, like it's already profited? That's the problem. I mean, the only cool thing about Trump is he's trying to gut things out of Washington. But if he's going to gut things and all he can say is, hey, after you're done working here, you can't work for a foreign agency to be a lobbyist, right? If that's all he's got, if that's all this fucker's got, what a piece of shit, right? There's so many more reforms that could be made. He's going to keep it. I got a bug I'm going to take it, so we're going to play this.
It's going to be that. Okay. Switching topics, I don't know if anybody from my tribe of atheists ever thanked you for giving us a shout out at your first inaugural, but you did mention non-believers. I think it was
More than once.
More than once.
I mean, it's not just in that speech. I've done it often.
Well, we appreciate it. Because we do feel like untouchables to a degree. I mean, I don't know if you saw the latest religion survey, but almost a quarter of the country are nuns. I don't mean the ones who hit me on knuckles with a ruler in Sunday school. I mean, they put nun for religion. Right. They're not, no, they're atheists, agnostics, or they just don't want to get up on Sunday morning. And we have no representation in Congress. If our numbers were represented, there'd be over 100 Congress people who felt that way. It just seems like we are not included in the basket of diversity in America, which is odd because we are the biggest minority. That is a bigger minority than any other minority you can name. And don't you think we should get a little more love?
I guess my question would be whether there is active persecution of atheists. I think that there are certain. Well, I think for a candidate, I think you're right that there are certain occupations, probably most prominently politics, where there would be a bias against somebody who's agnostic or atheist in running for office. I think that's still true. Outside of that arena, though, you seem to have done all right with your TV show. I don't get it. Since, to the extent that they're boycotting you, it's because of your particular view on religion.
What a bad or wacky idea.
I
usually agree with you.
I think the average American, if they go to the workplace, somebody's next to them, they're not poking around trying to figure out what their religious beliefs are. So here's what I would say. That I think that a culture in which people's private religious beliefs, including atheists and agnostics, are respected, and that's the kind of culture that I think allows all of us then to believe what we want. That's freedom of conscience. That's what our Constitution guarantees. And where we get into problems typically is when religious faith or the community of faith that we participate in tips into a sort of fundamentalist extremism in which it's not enough for us to believe what we believe, but we start feeling obligated to hit you over the head because you don't believe the same thing, or to treat you as somebody who's less than I am.
But we might be more pro-science in America if we were less religious, don't you think?
Well, I think the issues we have with science these days are not restricted to what's happening with respect to religion. There are a lot of very religious scientists around. I think the problem is that in our school systems, and to some degree, and this is where it is relevant with school boards around the country that are mandating curriculums and textbooks, you start seeing this weird watering down of scientific fact, so that our kids are growing up in an environment, and this connects to what I was saying earlier about the media, where everything's contested. That because if it's on Facebook, it all looks the same, and if you're reading something from a Nobel Prize winning physicist next to some guy in his underwear, right in his basement, or his mom's basement, on text, it looks like it's equally plausible. And part of what we have to do a better job of, if our democracy is functioning in a complicated, diverse society like this, is to teach our kids enough critical thinking to be able to sort out what is true and what is false, what is contestable and what is incontestable. And we seem to have trouble with that, and our political system doesn't help.
Okay, I want to ask you this question. Again, it's an issue I think we don't get asked a lot about, but it's important to my audience. I know people will roll their eyes and say, so California to ask this, but food purity, something that means a lot to me. Somehow it got to be elitist or liberal. I don't get that, to want food that isn't full of pesticides, or food that wasn't created by torturing animals in factory farms, isn't full of antibiotics, which is a problem in itself. I feel like we're upside down on food. We eat too much corn because we grow too much corn because we subsidize too much corn. And one of the problems with the Affordable Care Act is that people were found sicker than expected, and that's partly because of the food. I think
And obesity and all the work that Michelle's been doing.
Yeah, but shouldn't the food
I
be
got
put
this
more at the
egg
top of the
thing,
agenda when we
but I
come to
just wanted to
addressing
show you the
There's no doubt
princess
about it.
print.
Right now we got a disease care system. We should have a healthcare system.
Anyway.
A healthcare system would include nutrition.
Just talking about women's issues, weight, size. Now, hey, like there's certain propriety you don't want to like take away from women. Well, you don't have to. I was just trying to show you that. I could play this all night. I'll just let it record for 8 hours. Then maybe I'll cut and paste it. Anyway, back to the president. Back to, where was I? Hang on. Let's get to social justice warriors. That's what we want, social justice warriors. This video, boy, I have a lot to comment on, but let's just start it
mental
off.
health of young men of color in this country, and I'm wondering, Mark Lamont Hill, why?
I think there are a few reasons. I think one, just as a nation, we don't talk about mental health. We mock people for going to see therapists. We call people crazy. When you look at even pop culture with the haunted house with the psychos inside, there's this whole culture that stigmatizes mental health illness. I think also with young black men, because they're seen as being prone to violence, being prone to irrationality, because they're seen as unintelligent and often immoral, when they display behaviors that are clearly crying for help, we dismiss it as just as part of their normal everyday pathology. And then I think oftentimes within the African American community, we also stigmatize mental health issues. We tell people to take it to the church, take it to Jesus. We don't go to see therapists even at the same rate as our white counterparts. And then on top of that, when you're in a context of racism and white supremacy, you engage more trauma. When you live in a war zone like Chicago, or in this case Ferguson, you're surrounded by death and violence and harassment. And so you have more triggers, and we need to deal with that in a very substantive way.
Voice.
Well, I think the media perceives broke racism to be a far bigger problem in America. That's why we spend so much time on people like Donald Sterling and Clive Bundy, and before that, it was Paul Ryan who said some things that were racially intemperate. I think we've been training black people to think that racism is a bigger deal, and I think the reason that the left wants that is because of votes and power. As long as black people believe that race and racism are the major problem in America, you got that 95% monolithic black vote without which the Democratic Party cannot survive. So you have the Jessies and the Als and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Harry Reid constantly bringing up race cards, talking about Republicans waging a war against black people and so forth. So black people have been trained, surprise, surprise, people in Ferguson believe that the racist criminal justice system is oppressing them.
Are you saying that racism is not a major problem in this country? Are you saying
no, it is not a major problem in this country. No, it is not. My father was a janitor. He was born in the Jim Crow South. Fast forward, my father in his late 40s started a small business, got a little bit of property. This is what happens in America. Raised 3 boys, educated them. We have a thriving black middle class. If black America were a country, Brooke, it would be the 15th wealthiest country in the world. For crying out loud, this is not your grandfather's America. We ought not act like it is.
Yeah, but like, I don't. For two things. One, I think your earpiece could be broken because the question was on mental health, and you once again go back to the pathologies of the black community. That's stunning to me. But
why do you have to insult me all the time? Why can't you address this rather than insulting me? Why is it necessary? Can we have a discussion as 2 black men without insulting each other? Is that possible? Can we talk? Can I do that, please?
Larry, I haven't insulted you. Larry, I'm not insulting you. What I'm responding to.
You said I was finished. Selling a dog whistle. Why do Republicans always use a dog whistle? I didn't say what I said. The merit of what I said. For a change, Lamont, I watch you all the time. You talk over people. You don't listen to the merit of what they say.
You're talking over me. Like, first of all, okay, a few things. I never said dog whistle. Second, you're saying engage what you're talking about. Let me finish. I didn't. When you rewind this, you realize you were wrong. What I just spoke about was mental health in the black community. What I just spoke about was mental health in the black community, and you responded by talking about black people and believing that racism exists. You totally didn't acknowledge my question or respond to my comment. So
I want us to have perspective and talk about what's important, but you won't do that.
Oh no! Well, you don't get to decide what's important. We all have opinions here. I made a comment I wanted you to respond to, but I'll respond to your comment.
You think the problem of unarmed black people is a major problem in America, and I don't.
Okay, so let me tell you what I think now that you've spoken. There are 2 issues here. You mentioned black on black crime. You say that that's a problem. I agree with you that it's a
huge problem. A massive problem.
Larry, I agree with you.
One voice, gentlemen. One voice.
I agree with Larry Elder that black and black violence is an issue. I absolutely agree with him. So let's not argue about what we both agree on. I agree. But if this study bears out, and it does, that at least every 28 hours an unarmed black person is killed, then that also is a problem. Is it as big a problem as other?
Less than 2% of the total, Lamont. Less than 2% of the total. 7,000 black people killed every year. Less than 2% are killed by police officers in an unarmed way. So why don't we talk about the 98%? And many of these murders in Chicago are unsolved. At least we know what happened in the Michael Brown case.
Another one. But you still say we're out of war with Islam? That is the most ignorant, stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Are we not at a war with radical jihadism?
Okay, but are they not at a war with radical Christianity? Okay.
Oh my.
War with radical Christianity?
Really?
No, really. I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Actually, explain to me. Where are we at war with radical Christianity?
Yeah, they're trying to target us for no reason.
Where the radical Christianity war? Where is that happening?
People in power. The people in power want to make us turn on each other. That's exactly why they're trying to do this.
These are radical Christians?
Get feelings from
I just want to know about this radical Christian war that's going on.
Ask other countries. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you for making an ass of yourself. Now let's watch your girlfriend do the same.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, do you know what that means?
Yeah, I actually lived in the Middle East for 2 years as a child.
Well, fuck. That's really good. Now, if you could reply with the proper, like, assalamu.
See, I had a... Yeah, no,
Assalam.
yeah, not a fan. See,
Have a good day.
growing up there as a young girl, I wasn't a big fan of, like, having to cover myself all the time. The actual rape culture that goes on in the Middle East. And, throwing gays off of buildings and stuff. I wasn't I'm a big fan of that. Being an American over there.
Neither am I, but you don't think Donald Trump is after the same policies?
I don't think he wants to throw gays off of buildings. No.
No, but he's openly against them in radical form.
Against what?
Gay people, Islamic people, black people, Mexican people. He's all about the hate.
What did he do to gay people?
He's openly slandered a bunch of.
What did he say? I don't know.
You haven't heard anything about.
I haven't heard him say bad things about gays. No.
Okay. Well, look at stuff from the 1990s.
I don't know if you can even really compare saying a few things to really throwing them off of buildings either.
You're right. You're right. Sticks and stones will not break bones, but words do hurt.
The social justice warrior motto.
Yeah, I think I'd rather hear a few nasty words than be thrown off the building.
Me too. And that's where we're all the same on a human level.
I don't think it's quite a valid comparison.
Anyway, I think that social justice warriors still have their piece. I think feminism still has their piece. I think postmodernism still has its piece to say. And I think the right wing is really chopping the shit out of them. Listen to this video, but I think it's bogus. Keep going.
That's my point.
Okay, well, that's different. Have a good day.
I am standing in the middle of 1984 civilization. I am standing in the middle of the most ignorant people who think they have a clue what's going on. I have proven time and time again trying to engage in political discourse with these people, and you've seen the responses time and time again. No logic, no research, no clue. And now we have an entire group. Oh yeah, you know what? It's a funny thing. If these people could actually rally behind a real movement, they could do something. If they spent half the energy they spent protesting Trump, they could build a business. They could get a job. They could improve the
Capitalists talking about they could do a business, they could do this, even though technology is dominating the dehumanization of employment. We should have a
their family. They can improve their lives, but they don't want to do that. They're into the group thing, the herd thing, which is, oh, Donald Trump has caused all of our problems. It's all Trump's fault. This is the brainwashing in the media. This is the brainwashing in the schools, and I am in the epicenter of it right now. This is amazing. They know 5 words. Why don't you like Donald Trump?
Because us kids want to have a future.
Donald Trump's your best hope.
No, us kids want to have a future.
Who's going to provide you a future?
Another president.
Who?
Not Donald Trump.
Hillary Clinton's going to provide you a future?
Yes, Hillary.
Let me ask you a question, though. Hillary Clinton has been in government for 2 decades. Would you say America's gotten better?
Yes.
Well, then why are you out?
What's in the name? Well, that depends on what you do with it. Put it out there. Level it up. Get good with it. Like, really good. Get it voted for. Get it feared. Get it to the top of the ladder, if you got what it takes. Test it at the combine. Sign it on a contract. Get it on a team. Get it in a tournament. Get it on a big monthly check. Cash it. Commit to it. Put it on everything. What about this thing? Nah, it's bigger than that. Make your whole city know. Check that. The whole world. Hear it talked about. See it in the headlines. Then watch it all come crashing down. Wait.
Well, I'm friends with them on
What?
Facebook.
Okay.
But you're protesting.
Donald Trump is going to make it worse.
But why do you say that? How is he racist? How? What has he done that's racist?
What has he not done?
I'm asking what he has done. He's hired people from every country. He's hired people of every race. He married an immigrant. Donald Trump has created thousands of jobs. No other candidate has done that.
Another one.
Yes, there's a problem with the black community, and yes, we need more policing inside our neighborhoods rather than less, because if there are more police officers, there aren't going to be as many shootings, as many open air drug markets, kidnapping.
Black people who were shot by the police, there are many?
There are. I mean, I think it's like 153, or no, about 153 to 200 that died last year. And it's tragedy. It's a tragedy whenever a police officer shoots somebody or when anybody dies. But to blow it out of proportion to say that black people are being shot every single day is a lie. I think 965 black people died last year. And of that, I think 40% were white, and the other 30% were Latinos, and then others, what have you. So black people, I think, as a percentage, is like 17%, and they're 13% of the population, which means, on average, when you actually scale it down, they're pretty much represented fairly. And by the way, there's only 1 million police officers in America. 1 million police officers that are policing 320, 340 million Americans, right? So when 900 of the people die, justly or unjustly, you're not even talking about 1/10 of 1%. That is like a 99% satisfaction rate when it comes down to policing.
So there's no discrimination in the United States.
I didn't say that. Of course there's discrimination. But, are you married? When you pick your husband, you're going to discriminate against a lot of men. There's discrimination of all sorts. I'm not saying that there's no discrimination. I'm not saying that there's no racism. I don't think that the police officers are systematically racist. I don't think it's a problem, to be honest with you, in America.
So you said there is racism and discrimination. What did Donald Trump do about it?
I don't think Donald Trump can really do anything about discrimination or racism because it's a single thing, right? So I mean, if I wanted to be outwardly racist to somebody because I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, how's Donald Trump going to stop me? Is he going to put in a law that's going to throw me in prison? Well, then there's going to be a lot of free speech violations and what have you. Donald Trump, no president can stop somebody from being racist. It's your own thoughts. That's called thought policing. And I don't think that we don't want that in America.
Another one.
Do you actually think we live in a rape culture? Unfortunately, I think so. I was actually just chatting with my friend about even the viral craze going on where people come up to reporters such as yourself and are saying that awful phrase in the live cameras, that's F her right in the P, and that kind of language that is considered funny is something that it might seem like an innocent thing at the time, but it's just an example of how the language we use is absolutely involved with rape culture. Or somebody does poorly on a test, they're like, oh, I got raped with that test, and it's like, why are you talking that way? Do you actually think we live in a rape culture though? Because I'd say for the most part we demonize rapists, we send them to prison, and guys who make rape jokes lose their job.
I think we're making great strides in doing that, but at the same time, there are girls and guys who believe that it's just kind of like you kind of force each other on, or like if it's okay for someone to take advantage of you or just assume that they can just come against you because you're so used to that way of life.
Get used to it. My short skirt is happiness. I was just curious as to what her sign meant. If you want to know what my sign means that this is not a rape culture because rapists go to prison here. Rapists are actually hated here. Rapists are fired from their jobs. Men who make rape jokes are fired from their jobs. Go to Africa and you will see a real rape culture. The whole point of the law is to protest rape culture. There's a group of women that were here and they're wishing to withdraw consent to use the footage that you had, I guess, gotten. So can you please make sure that is done and make sure that any of the stuff that they have, we may or we may not use the footage. It is a public area, so we do have legal rights to use the footage. But you interview them specifically, right? So yes, and they give us consent to interview. Well, now they're withdrawing it, so that's not how it works. But which is interesting given the event that you're at, right? Like that's a little bit contradictory. I mean, it's a little bit contradictory. Well, I totally say that's not how it works. Well, you can't just withdraw consent the next well, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? No. Tell me about like a rally for like rapists, consent and like withdrawing consent, saying like no means no. They're saying no, and you're saying that. Like, okay, so if someone gives consent the night before, and then they have listen, if they have sex with a man and they give consent to him, then the next day decide, oh, I regret it. I'm gonna report him for being a rapist, even though I gave him consent. You're saying that's okay?
Another one.
I mean, you can't just tar feminism with a brush of current day, some small strand of radical feminism. I mean, feminists got women the right to vote. Shouldn't you give an enormous thank you to them? Not just because you're a woman, but also because for the sake of humanity, they did a great service to all of us?
Okay, well, there were two movements there, right? There was the suffragist movement, and then there was the suffragette movement. And the suffragist movement was interested in votes for everybody. And a lot of them really resented the suffragettes, particularly a lot of female suffragists resented the suffragettes because suffragettes got up to all kinds of crazy stuff. They lobbed bombs, they burned post offices, I read an account in a man's diary from back then that they tried to push him off a cliff out of chivalry. He didn't report the attempted murder. They got into all kinds of criminal activities and stuff like that. I mean, you could even say they were domestic terrorists. And a lot of the suffragists were like, you're just demonstrating that women shouldn't have the vote. I mean, and a lot of public sentiment back then, and this is the history that we don't get told. A lot of public sentiment back then was, well, if this is how women behave, like, should they get the vote? And another thing too, there were politicians in the UK who were discussing giving the women the vote long before the suffragettes started up.
Oh yeah. I'm sure, Karen. I'm sure if they continue to ask politely, men would have given it to them anyway. Men have been such sweethearts throughout history. I'm sure they would have just said, "Hey, women, even though we denied you the right to vote for the entire history of mankind, literally mankind, if you just stuck around and been polite, we'd have given it to you anyway." Come on, Karen. You got to realize that's the biggest load of horse crap you've ever heard in your life.
They took a poll in England of women. And 70% of them didn't want the vote. They thought,
I know, and the women in Saudi Arabia want the burqa. I know, it's because of the culture that they grew up in. Karen, give me a thank you. Look, everything's going great, but you're not being reasonable. You're being ridiculous. Give me a thank you. Give me a thank you for feminists for getting your right to vote. Otherwise, stop voting and go make me a ham sandwich.
Another one.
Can you give me an example of something he said or done that's sexist or racist?
Oh yes, Trump has called for many policies that would hurt working class women, that would hurt women of color. Trump is an enemy of the people and an enemy of progress in all things.
But can I have a specific example, please?
Well, the specific examples are the examples of his speeches, the things he said about Muslims in his debates, his desire to build a wall around the United States to keep immigrants out. Trump is consistently
illegal immigrants,
people who have been driven out of their country because of imperialism and who have come here to find a better life. So the people that are here have every right to be here, and Trump wants to pass policies that will make life harder for them.
So are you saying you don't want a border?
We want all people to be able to come here and
legally or illegally.
We want people to come here and have access to basic material things from education to healthcare. We want people to be able to come here and get a job with a decent wage. And we don't want anybody to be terrorized by the kind of policies that Donald Trump and his puppets want to have passed.
Are you willing to pay for illegal immigrants' homes and education?
We want to have a society where immigrants can come here and get access to decent housing, and where immigrants.
But are you willing to pay for it?
Well, we think that society should take up the task of caring for people, and so yes, I would like to see a society where everybody is equal and has access to the same basic kind of material things that they need to live and to survive and to get around in the world.
So would you volunteer your home and your goods in your home for an illegal immigrant to come live with you instead?
Yes, we would like to see all immigrant people have access to housing in all communities. There are many apartment facilities here that are empty. In fact, there are many houses that are empty, and they're empty because people can't afford them to get access to them. People are consistently many people are being affected by these policies, getting evicted, and we would like to see everybody actually have access to that, and housing be a basic kind of human right.
So we can go down the street and get a couple homeless guys and take them to your house, and you'll take them in.
Another one.
No, veto! No, veto! You are attacking our cameraman. Yeah.
He was the one who touched me first.
Oh, come on. So how do you believe your outfit is going to stop perpetuating rape culture? It's my body, it's my choice. I can wear what I want. And this is exemplifying how it's a crime scene. Like wearing the caution tape that they would normally put around a physical crime scene when it's not regarding a person, but regarding me, it's regarding people not considered a crime scene. That's f***ed up. It should be. It's a violation of a person's rights. So is this stopping rapes?
Stats to back up anything that you've said this afternoon.
Absolutely.
You said that rapists go to jail. Can you give me stats to back that up based on the number of rapes that are reported, the number of rapes that get taken to the cops, the number of rapes that get prosecuted? Could you give me some stats to back up your pseudo-reporting here?
Well, first of all, out of the amount of rapes that happen, out of 100,000 people, 1.7 of Canadians actually that's just reporting rapes. So
you know that less than 10% of rapes are actually reported.
Okay, where's that?
The cops.
Where's that?
It's from all of the women's organizations. You can look it up online. You can find it through the socialized organizations that study rape. I participate with an organization that works as a rape crisis center. We base that on the number of calls. The police know based on the unofficial reports, the third-party reporting, and the direct reports. This is not a secret that about 10% of rapes are reported.
So how do you know 10% of rapes are reported if the others aren't?
Because those people call the women's centers. They ask for help. They seek medical attention.
So they are reported.
Another one. Again, we have to be honest about the difference between Christianity and Islam here.
But I'm not seeing it. We just had a whole conversation about it.
We're not done. We're not done. So
okay.
One very important piece here is the example of Muhammad, and the example of Jesus. Muhammad was not a hippie who got crucified. Right? Muhammad was a conquering warlord. Muhammad's ethics, his life course, has much more in common with Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan than it does with Jesus or with Buddha or with Mahavira or other progenitors of the world, quote, great faiths.
Yeah, but kings wanted to conquer the world. He just sucked at it.
Well, that's one way to say it. But he was not ordering people's heads cut off. He got crucified.
Power to.
Well, no, that's you're reading that into the situation. But I'm saying the ethic you get out of Jesus. The Sermon on the Mount doesn't give you, okay, let's cut the heads off of those 300 Jews and let's take sex slaves.
If you want to cherry pick the good parts of the Bible, there are plenty.
But the bad parts are not as extensive. It's much easier to cherry pick the good parts.
No, let me talk about how the bad parts are extensive, not worse.
Well, let me just tell you the difference here. First of all, the Bible is a vast and vastly self-contradictory book, right? So the cherry picking is made so much easier by the fact that there's no way to reckon. There's no truly central message, and especially if you're taking the Old Testament and the New Testament, and you can forget about half of it very easily. It would take you a month and a half to read the whole thing from cover to cover. The Quran is a much shorter, much more streamlined book, and it has a central message, which is very much in harmony with the example of Muhammad. It is not the central message of the Quran, arguably, certainly a central message, is spread this one true faith to the ends of the earth, and you spread this by conquest, not conversation. It is convert or die, or if you happen to be a person of the book, you can live as a dhimmi. Now that is
so, Sam. That's a very important distinction, though, because the Quran says don't touch the Christians and the Jews; they're people of the book. And of course, it's also widely contradictory in different parts. And there's a very legitimate case to be made that when they talk about infidels, they're talking about the pagans of the time. And so
that's cold comfort to 1.2 billion Hindus who are polytheists and just completely beyond the pale by the light of this doctrine, right? So, but I want to deal with your point.
You just want to convert them too, and if they don't convert them, it doesn't matter because they're all going to get blasted by God at the end.
Okay, but that you know to be a fiction, and that's very different than waging war in this life against these people. Okay, the Yazidis are not being killed by the Iraqi Christians. Right, and there's a reason for that.
But then when you get into the real world, Sam, instead of the hypothetical world of the doctrines, right? Again, in the real world, there's two things that are very important that happen. One, historically, Christians have cherry-picked the good parts at times, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, etc., and they have picked hideous parts of the Bible for slavery, the Inquisition, the Holocaust, the anti-Semitism, and the list goes on and on and on. So historically, I mean, on Holocaust alone, let alone everything else I've mentioned here, Christians win. They have been the most violent.
Okay, but again, you have to be more careful here because the Holocaust was not a straightforward and honest implementation of Christian doctrine. You can't look into the Bible and get a good Christian justification for the Holocaust. What you get with it,
of course you
no, you can't.
Of course, it says kill them all that don't believe.
No, not for Christianity. No, it doesn't. It just simply doesn't.
First of all, it's in the Old Testament, which is in the Bible. It's people like pretend it's not in the Bible. If it wasn't in the Bible, we just have the New Testament.
And the central message of his teaching does not get you the Holocaust. There's not a straight line there. There is a straight line.
It's like a total excuse to be honest.
Another one. I want to get this right, so I want to look at my notes for this. According to this, you are black. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct.
And I remember reading one time, Dave, somebody was giving a description of some suspect who had done some crime, was running away, and he was described as an African American. How do you know where he was from? Could have been from Africa, could have been from Jamaica, could have been from Canada.
So what do you make of that when someone like, because I know you really rail against Jesse Jackson and these guys on the left that use, and I want to talk a lot about identity politics.
Okay.
So the guys that use these phrases, what are they going for there?
Well,
what is the goal?
The goal is to tell black people that we're victims, that discrimination and racism remain major problems in America when in fact they don't. And they want black people to vote for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party gets 95% of the black vote, and the reason they get it is because blacks are convinced that the #1 issue facing the country right now is social justice, racist white cops, discrimination, systemic racism, microaggression, whatever new word they come up with, and it's a bunch of nonsense. The #1 problem domestically facing this country is a breakdown of the family. And President Obama said it. I did. A black kid, or a kid, not just a black kid, a kid raised without a dad is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crimes, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So you're far more likely to end up in jail without having a dad than you are because of a white racist cop.
But you there are some systemic issues.
Give me an example. Tell me what you think the most systemic racist issue is. What is it?
Well, I would say that because black people, in most cases, in many cases, were descendants of slaves, that racism as an institution, that it just a certain amount of it just exists.
2015. Give me the most blatant racist example you come up with right now.
I think you could probably find evidence that, in general, cops are more willing to shoot if the perpetrator is black.
What's your data?
Than white.
What's your basis for saying that? Last year,
well, look, I know a lot of people would say, "Look what's going on."
I know what they would say. I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black. About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where's the Black Lives Matter on that?
Oh my God! Push down to the side, like a big popper. Get your girl hit in my tummy boxes.
The idea that a racist white cop shooting unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS. Is complete and total BS. And the reason for these so-called activists saying this is the assumption that racism remains a major problem in America. The media, CNN, especially MSNBC, runs down whenever a black cop shoots somebody, and it's some march on Washington. It's ridiculous. Black people.
The moderator punched a presidential candidate in the face.
Screw this. Let's go to space.
Ooh, this is my pool, sea monkey. Play map packs first on PS4.
At one point, but then that stopped. The whole point was,
and it's some march on Washington. It's ridiculous. Black people, half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people. Last year there were 14,000 homicides. Not talking about suicides, talking about homicides. Half of them were black. 96% of them black on black. Of that 7,000. Where's the Black Lives Matter people on that?
So there's where you would say that this is purely because of social justice. This is purely because they want ultimately for people to be angry enough to just keep voting Democrat.
That's right. And where's the evidence of the lack of social justice? When a black suspect is killed by a cop,
if you want to,
believe me, the media is on it. People are watching it.
It's fine. Okay, so I don't have commentary. I got to stop the stream because
You understand here.
What's that?
Because, but there was never a problem between you and Jared, right?
Not a problem.
Like,
there was never a problem.
What the fuck you do? I'm gonna mess you up, right?
What am I gonna do? Right? I got to stop the stream. Here we go. I'm stopping it. I'm ending it. Thanks for listening. I wish I had more commentary. Anyway, thanks for listening. Speed it all up. I think a lot of what you just heard for the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes, kind of nonsense, not nonsense. I have an opinion about it. Anyway, I'll pick it up later.